The scary part? Most renters don't even know their state's laws. They assume federal laws protect them, but housing law is largely a state-level issue. That means your rights can change completely just by moving 20 miles into another state. Some landlords, especially slumlords, know this and they exploit it. They target vulnerable tenants, low-income families, immigrants, college students, and single parents. They put just enough paint on the walls to make a property look okay for a quick walkthrough. Then they lock tenants into a lease with as-is clauses that basically let them walk away from any responsibility. And if the tenant complains or threatens legal action, in many cases, landlords can retaliate legally or push for quick eviction. Another trick is the option to buy lease scam. In this scheme, landlords advertise a property not just for rent, but as a rent-to-own opportunity. The tenant pays higher monthly rent with the promise that after a few years, they'll be able to buy the property. But buried in the fine print is a clause stating that any missed payment, any lease violation, or any failure to maintain the property cancels the deal with no refund. The property often remains in terrible condition, and the tenant ends up investing thousands into a home they never actually own. And yes, this too is legal in many states. Courts often side with the property owner because the lease agreement, no matter how predatory, was signed willingly. Even worse, online rental scams now exploit this loophole. Fake landlords post listings with photos of nice homes, sometimes even stolen from legitimate websites. When someone expresses interest, they email over a lease with as-is conditions and ask for a deposit through Cash App, Zelle, or other non-refundable methods. By the time the tenant arrives with their moving truck, they find out the property was never actually for rent, and the landlord is long gone. Police often treat these scams as civil issues unless massive fraud is involved, and recovery is nearly impossible. So what can you do to protect yourself? First, always read your lease thoroughly. Look for terms like as-is, tenant assumes all responsibility, or no warranty of habitability. These phrases are red flags. Second, research your state's landlord-tenant laws. Sites like nolo.com or your local housing authority can give you a clear picture of your rights. Third, do a walkthrough before signing and document everything. Take photos, ask questions, and get any promises in writing. And finally, avoid paying deposits in cash or via non-traceable apps. There's also a growing push for legal reform. Housing advocates in several states are calling for a federal minimum standard of habitability. This would ensure that no matter where you live, basic safety, cleanliness, and livability are guaranteed by law. But until that happens, the burden remains on renters to protect themselves even from legal scams.